Hey folks, Renfail here, bedhead, bedbeard. It's early. Rainstorms, we've been up all night. I wanted to make a video and I figured this is the perfect time to do it, all disheveled, because why not? It's the Underdark. No one can see you in the dark, right? No one can hear you scream in the dark. So I'm here with my drow sorcerer. We just came down here via one of the various ways that you can get down into the Underdark, which is through the Zentarum hideout here. And I actually don't usually take this method to get down here because I prefer a different method. I'm trying to be spoiler free in this video, but I should say right now out of the gate that probably some things might get spoiled. I'll try to remember what those things are before I say them. Um, it's not spoiling anything to say that there's a Zentarum hideout that was shown in lots of other videos over the past few years. But here we are in the Underdark. There's a couple of Minotaurs down here in front of us. And if we come in here and pan out, you're going to just see there's a massive, massive, massive world of stuff beyond us out here that's to be explored. The Underdark is a really, really, really big place. And I think the question that a lot of people have is, do I have to do the Underdark or can I go through the mountain pass? The great thing is that you can do both if you want to. If you're going the completionist route, you could do both. And honestly, if this is your first time playing the game, I don't recommend that you do both. I recommend that you pick one or the other. And there's a story element to this, and I'm going to spoil the story element really quickly here for you. So this is your spoiler alert for this particular moment. It's only going to last a moment, so after this we'll get back into the rest of the video. So just maybe skip ahead 30 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The story element here being when you talk to Halsin after you've rescued him and you've done all the things that need to happen for that conversation, and you're back at the camp and you're celebrating and you're deciding which way to go to get to Moonrise Towers, he's going to give you a choice and he's going to tell you it's safer to go through the Underdark, to skip what's up above, but if you go through the mountain pass, that's the only way through and you'll get into the nasty stuff. So you're provided with a choice that kind of guides you into the Underdark, as one of the methods for getting to the next part of the game, which is, I won't spoil anything more beyond this point. So you're given the option: do I do the Underdark or do I do the Mountain Pass? And if you're a first-time player, as I said a few months ago, I actually recommend that you just pick one. But if you're a completionist player and you want to get the most out of the game, and you want to see everything, all the things there are to see, as much as possible anyway, your first time through, because you're never going to see it all. With all the 17,000 permutations that they put into this game, you're just not going to see it all. You have to do multiple playthroughs, which is why I would say that if you're someone who has the time to do multiple playthroughs, do it different ways. Take one, like our multiplayer group as an example, is choosing to not go into the Underdark, which is the first time I've ever done it that way. All my other characters have always gone through the Underdark because I like the Underdark, because I have very fond memories of the Underdark from Baldur's Gate 2. But just for a moment, say, let's take a look. I barely have anything of the map discovered at this point. And it's great for me to be able to do this because I'm not spoiling anything by showing you the entirety of the Underdark map. But let me just start off by saying that the Underdark map is big. It's easily, I would argue that if you're going to come down here and you've never done it before and you're going to explore, like you can see, this is it's a pretty big map. Like, it's a pretty big place. If you want to explore all of this, you can easily spend 20 plus hours just in the Underdark. Like, there's a whole experience and multiple levels to be earned just in the Underdark. There are a lot of encounters down here, starting with the Minotaurs. I've showed this fight a variety of different ways. You're gonna pretty much, I think that every way you can come down here, except for maybe because I haven't done the entry from the swamps yet. But I know that the other ways that I've come into the Underdark, you're always going to face, like, the Minotaurs are going to be like the first battle you face. There's a couple of Minotaurs here no matter which way you come down. And then over here beyond, like, just to give you an inkling of what's down here, like, you'll see this structure off in the distance right there. Over there, there's some other stuff that happens in that direction. And then there's stuff that happens down in that direction. And then there's stuff that is happening well, my camera, it's like, you're gone too far, you have to go back. There are so many encounters down here and so many really cool adventures to be had. Plus, if you really want to get into the lore of like the Dark Justiciars and some of the stuff about Ketheric Thorm and who these players are and who these characters are. There's lots of lore stuff down in here. There's some underground towers down in here that you could do quests around. There's a whole colony of, well, there's multiple colonies. Like I said, I'm trying not to spoil stuff too much. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that the Underdark is totally worth it if you want to do it. But you're presented with that choice early on, as you're sort of getting into the end of Act 1. You're being told that you can make a decision about whether or not you go through here or the mountain pass. And like I said, you can do both, thankfully. That's a question a lot of people have, is like, well, do I have to do one or the other? You can do both. I think the recommendation for most people would be to do the Underdark first and then go back out, go back up top, and then go up to the mountain pass, because there's no connections to the mountain pass. But there are connections between here and the Druid Grove area, and between here and the next area where you have to go, which is the solid part of Act 2. Because it's essentially this place and the mountain pass both connect to the Act 2 place that you need to get to. It's just a decision of how you get there. The mountain pass in and of itself is another area that has probably, I would say, another, it just depends on how you play it. It could be 20 hours worth of content. It's a little, I would say it's probably a little less if you're playing a, well, that's a spoiler thing they'll try to avoid. It could be less depending on decisions you make, but this could also be less depending on. So I'd say in both cases you're presented with, let's say, an average of about 15 hours worth of content in the Underdark versus 15 hours of content in the Mountain Pass. Now, the big thing about being down here in the Underdark is I would argue that this is a more dangerous place than the Mountain Pass. That's just my personal take on things. There's a big thing in the Mountain Pass. Quick commercial break, everyone, to give a shout out to our first official guild officer, Bubalonia, as well as all of the guild champions, and of course, all of the members who help keep me on the air full time. To join as a member, simply click that join button below and pick your tier, but you can also support with Super Chats on any live stream or premiere, or Super Thanks on any upload or YouTube short. Don't forget the Discord. Let's get back to the video. That is very dangerous if you are certain races. Other races aren't going to have problems there. Um, and I'd say the same could be said from here for here as well. And there's also multiple parts to the Underdark, because there's the Underdark and then there's the stuff that's underneath the Underdark, because you can keep going down and then you can actually connect here to some other places, and it's a massive underworld, everybody. So if you're someone like me who has fond memories of Baldur's Gate 2 in particular, and going down into the Underdark and exploring all the caves with the Illithid and the Illithids and the Ettercaps, and what else was down there? There was just all sorts of creepy stuff down in those caverns. There's beholders down there too, yeah. In Baldur's Gate 2. And of course the drow. The drow sorcerer ring still is like one of my most favorite things. So I guess at the end of the day, here's my suggestion to everybody, is that everything you see in Baldur's Gate 3 is about choice and options. And the big thing Larian Studios wants you to do is replay the game. So I would say don't get stressed if you're finding yourself worried about, do I take the Underdark? Do I take the Mountain Pass? Do I follow the advice given to me by that one character? Do I have to make a choice? Don't stress about it. You could do both if you want to, but I would highly recommend you do the Underdark, because it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff down in here. There's also, I would say, one of the biggest boss fights of the early game happens down in the Underdark. So it's something that you really shouldn't miss. But I would also say that if you're going to come down here, make sure that you read everything that you find, all the books, all the notes, because it's all going to be useful. It's all going to be stuff that's applied to quests that are down in here and secrets and everything else. Also, speak with the animals as your friend on here, because There's some lore that you'll find if you're speaking to animals and getting more about this place and what's happened over the years. I love the Underdark. I think it's totally worth your time. Hopefully you'll check it out. If you like my guides and my videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Daily streams at 11 a.m. Guides throughout the week. There's a Discord. There's member videos if you're a member of the channel and you're supporting with one of the 5 tiers of membership. So check those out. Beyond that, everybody, hopefully you'll check out all the other playlists. Stay safe. I'll see you in the next adventure.